Stepsister stole my wedding by proposing to my fiancé and destroyed my wedding. On the night before my wedding, I stood at the front of our rehearsal dinner restaurant, holding a glass, just about to thank everyone for coming. My stepsister Brittany interrupted me. She clinked her fork against her wine glass, stood up in her matching bridesmaid dress, and said, "Actually, I have something to say." I thought she was going to make a toast. Instead, she walked over to my fiancé, pulled a small box out of her clutch, sank down on one knee right in front of me, and asked, loud enough for the whole room to hear, "Josh, will you marry me instead?" Silence. Cutlery stopped. My dad's face went white. Somewhere in the back, a phone camera was already recording. I didn't scream. I didn't throw my champagne in her face or slap the ring box out of her hand. I made one small change. I set my own glass down, stepped back, and watched very carefully what my fiancé did next. I had no idea that his reaction, and a few receipts from someone who'd seen her pull this stunt before, would not only save me from a terrible marriage, but that a year later, karma would destroy her wedding even worse than she'd tried to destroy mine. My name is Anna. I'm 29, and I live just outside Denver, Colorado. I have a stepsister named Brittany. She's 27. Our parents married when I was 14 and she was 12. My mom, public school teacher, practical, coupon clipper. Her dad, small business owner, loved to spoil his little girl. When our families merged, the dynamic was obvious. I was the responsible one. Brittany was the princess. That's not bitterness talking. That's direct quotes from relatives. If I got a B on a test, my mom would say, "We'll work on it." If Brittany got a B, her dad would email the teacher to ask why she wasn't being supported to her potential. Growing up, Brittany copied me in small ways. If I joined drama club, she auditioned. If I dyed my hair dark, she begged our mom for the same color. When I got my driver's license, she wanted the exact same car. It was annoying, but manageable. You know she copies you because she wants to be you, right? My best friend Jasmine said once. It's half creepy, half sad. In my early 20s, I met Josh. We matched on a dating app. Our first date was supposed to be one drink. We talked until the bar closed. He was smart, in a quiet way. The kind of guy who actually listened when you talked. And funny without needing to be the loudest in the room. We moved in together after 2 years. Our families liked each other. My mom loved him. Her dad respected his work ethic. Brittany liked him too. A little too much. "Do you have a brother?" she asked him the first Thanksgiving he came to. "No," he laughed. "Just me." She pouted. "Shame," she said. "We could have been sister-in-laws twice." I rolled my eyes. Everyone laughed. When Josh proposed on a hike 2 summers later, everyone claimed they saw it coming. We planned a small, no-too-fancy backyard-style wedding at a local barn venue. Fairy lights. Ataku ba. My playlist of late 2000s bangers. For the first couple of months, Brittany seemed genuinely excited. She offered to help with dress shopping, DIY centerpieces, planning the bachelorette. She was there for almost every big planning moment, which also meant she was present for a lot of private couple decisions too. "Don't you think you're letting him get away with too much say on the playlist?" she'd whisper. "It's your day." Or, "Wow, you're letting his mom handle the cake?" Bold choice. I'd never give up control of something that important. Red flag Hasson. She constantly reframed our wedding as my wedding in ways that encouraged me to see Josh as a guest rather than a partner. I brushed it off as standard, "It's your day, maid of honor," even though she wasn't my maid of honor. That was Jasmine. Brittany was a bridesmaid. And that, in hindsight, was the second problem. She wanted center stage. Being one of 4 bridesmaids didn't scratch that itch. The first big sign of how far she'd go came at my bridal shower. It was a simple afternoon thing. Tea, finger sandwiches, silly games, my aunt making slightly inappropriate jokes. Halfway through, my stepdad suggested a fun idea. "Why don't all the ladies go around and give Anna one piece of marriage advice?" he said. "Keep it PG, please." We went around the circle. Normal stuff. Always communicate. Don't go to bed angry. Choose your battles. Then it was Brittany's turn. She smiled sweetly. "My advice," she said, looking right at me, "is, if your gut tells you he's not the one, listen to it before you walk down the aisle." The room went quiet. She laughed lightly. "I'm just saying," she added. "Anna and I tell each other everything. It would be such a shame if anyone was settling, right?" I forced a smile. Later, I pulled her aside. "What was that?" I asked. "At the shower?" She shrugged. "You've been tense," she said. "You complain about him not helping enough with chores. You said he forgot your anniversary once. I'm just saying, you don't have to go through with it if you're not 100% sure." "That's rich coming from someone who's never been in a relationship longer than 6 months," I snapped. She rolled her eyes. You're just mad I made people think, she said. Whatever, it's your life. I let it go. Again, because confronting her always ended with me being called sensitive. Fast forward to the week of the wedding. Stress was high. Vendor emails. Last-minute RSVPs. A groomsman with food poisoning. By the time we hit the rehearsal dinner, I was half running on adrenaline, half on fumes. We'd booked a private room at a restaurant near the venue. String lights. A long table. My Spotify playlist quietly in the background. Everyone was there. My family. Josh's family. The wedding party. A few out-of-town friends. We did the run-through at the venue first, then came to the restaurant for food and casual speeches. After dessert, my stepdad clinked his glass. Let's give a toast to our soon-to-be newlyweds, he said. People made small speeches. My mom cried. Josh's dad made a corny joke. I stood up to say thank you. As I lifted my glass, Brittany's fork hit her wine glass louder than anyone else's. Actually, she said loudly, I have something to say. I froze. She stood, smiled at the room. This might be surprising, she said, but I can't keep it in anymore. She walked toward Josh. Everyone's eyes followed her. My heart started to pound. She stopped in front of him, pulled a small velvet box out of her clutch. The room collectively inhaled. Josh, she said, voice shaking just enough to seem emotional. You are the kindest, most supportive, most loving man I've ever met. Watching you and Anna together has shown me what love should look like. I smiled weakly, thinking, okay, this is weird, but maybe she's about to say something nice about our relationship. Then, she dropped to one knee. Which is why, she said, I can't stand by and watch you make a mistake. I love you. I have loved you for a long time. Anna knows we have a connection. Everyone does. So I'm asking, will you marry me instead? Silence. You could hear the hum of the fridge in the next room. My stepdad looked like he might choke. My mom's hand flew to her mouth. Josh's face went white. My wine glass trembled in my hand. Somewhere behind me, I heard a phone chiming as someone started recording on instinct. Josh stood up slowly. Brittany, he said, voice strangled. Get up. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I'm serious, she said. We feel this, right? Why are we pretending we don't? Everyone sees it. He shook his head. No, he said firmly. We don't. I don't. You're drunk. This is insane. Get up. She looked past him. At me. You see it, don't you? She pleaded. You said you weren't sure. You said you had doubts. Head swiveled toward me. I felt exposed, like someone had ripped my diary open. What are you talking about? I managed. She laughed, brittle. Those nights you texted me about him not listening, not helping, forgetting things, she said. You said you wondered sometimes if you were settling. You can't tell me I'm just imagining this. Everyone was staring now. This was no longer just a proposal. It was a public airing of my private fears. My cheeks burned. I set my glass down. Those were normal pre-wedding jitters, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Not an invitation for you to do this. Josh moved slightly to stand between us. Britt, we're family, he said. I care about you, but I'm in love with Anna. I'm marrying Anna. What you're doing is cruel to her and embarrassing for you. Please, stop. A few people murmured assent. My mom stood. Brittany, sweetheart, sit down, she said softly. This isn't the time. Britt's face crumpled. You're all just scared to admit it, she sobbed. He deserves better. I deserve love too. Why does she always get everything? She looked at me again. I'm not sorry I said it, she spat. At least I'm honest. Then she grabbed her purse, knocked her chair over, and stormed out. The door slammed behind her so hard the glasses on the table rattled. The room was dead quiet. Then, slowly, conversations started up again in hushed voices. Someone righted the chair. My uncle made an awkward joke. Welp, one of the groomsmen muttered under his breath. That'll be a fun family story one day. I stood there, heart hammering. Josh turned to me. I swear I had no idea she was going to do that, he said. I've never encouraged. I held up a hand. Not now, I said. We'll talk later. Inside, though, a switch had flipped. This wasn't just Britt being dramatic. This was targeted, calculated, and it had just torpedoed my wedding confidence point blank. That night, I lay awake next to Josh in silence. I could feel him wanting to reach for me. I couldn't make myself turn toward him. My phone buzzed nonstop. Texts from Jasmine. What the fuck was that? Call me when you can. My mom. I'm so sorry, honey, we'll fix this. My stepdad. We will talk to her. This is not your problem to solve. Random cousins. Are you okay? That was insane. I couldn't deal. I turned it face so down. Around 2 a.m., Jasmine texted again. Jas, You need to see this before you make any decisions tomorrow. She attached a video file. My stomach dropped. I hit play. It was the proposal. Seen from the back of the room, slightly shaky. I watched. Brittany stand up, speech. Drop to one knee. Ask him to marry her. Josh immediately recoil. Tell her no. Tell her to stop. You can see his face clearly. He looks shocked, horrified, not even slightly tempted. For some reason, seeing it objectively, instead of replaying it in my traumatized brain, helped. He hadn't looked around guiltily. He hadn't hesitated. He hadn't said, "This is complicated." He'd said, "No." In my haze, I'd almost lumped him and Brittany together. The video reminded me, this was her stunt. Her fantasy. But then Jasmine texted again. Jas. And then there's this. A screenshot. A Facebook DM from someone I didn't recognize. The message to Jasmine said, "Hey, saw your story from the rehearsal dinner. That blonde girl who proposed to your friend's fiancé, is her name Brittany last name by any chance?" Under that, Jasmine had replied, "Yes." The stranger had responded, "Tell your friend to be careful. She pulled something very similar at my cousin's engagement party 2 years ago. Different guy, same 'I love you, you're making a mistake' speech. It blew up that relationship too. I have screenshots if she wants them." I stared. My chest tightened. This wasn't a one-time meltdown. This was a pattern. A compulsion. I told Josh I needed space and went to sleep in the guest room. The next morning, I drove to Jasmine's. We sat at her kitchen table. She pulled up the messages. The stranger, username Olivia, had sent screenshots of Brittany's old Instagram under a different username, tagged at an engagement party in another city. Comments from that time, vague but familiar. "Girl, you really went for it. He wasn't worth it anyway. You're too real for this world." Olivia had also typed a long paragraph. My cousin was engaged to a guy Brittany knew from college. At their engagement party, Brittany got drunk, stood up in front of everyone, and said he was settling and that she was the one who actually loved him. She didn't propose, but she made a huge scene. Later we found out she'd been messaging him for months, calling him at night, trying to convince him to leave my cousin. He didn't, but the trust damage was done. They broke up a few months later. Brittany blocked all of us and changed her IG name. I recognized her in your video immediately. My hands shook as I read. I'd known Brittany was messy. I hadn't known she was this. "Are you still going to marry him?" Jasmine asked quietly, meaning Josh. I took a long breath. "I don't know," I said, "but I'm definitely not walking down the aisle tomorrow like nothing happened." I called the venue, cried on the phone with the coordinator, explained that a family meltdown had occurred and I needed to postpone. To their credit, they were kind. "We've heard worse," she said gently. "We'll work with you on rescheduling or partial refund. Take care of yourself first." When I told my parents, my mom cried. My stepdad looked furious. "With her," he clarified quickly. "Not with you." "We'll talk to her," my mom said. "She's not well." That sentence. She's not well. It's amazing how many excuses fit under that umbrella. I met Josh in the park that afternoon. I'd asked him to give me the day. He showed up looking like he hadn't slept either. "I saw the video," I said. "Jasmine sent it." He nodded. "I'm glad," he said. "I wanted you to see I didn't feel anything she thinks I feel." "And this wasn't the first time she's pulled something like this," I added, showing him Olivia's messages. He read, closed his eyes. "I feel stupid," he said. "Naive, like I missed something obvious." "We both did," I said. We sat in silence for a minute. Finally, he said, "Do you still want to marry me?" I stared at the ducks on the pond. My heart said yes. My trauma said not right now. "I don't know," I said honestly. "I know you said no to her. I know you didn't ask for this, but I also know I can't untangle my feelings about us from the mess she just made overnight. I need time. If we do this, I want it to be because we choose each other, not because we're trying to prove something to her or anyone else." He nodded slowly. "That's fair," he said. "I'll wait." We left it at that. Wedding, postponed. Relationship, on pause sort of. Stepsister, ghosting, then texting erratically, then posting vague, "No one understands me" rants on social media. What I didn't know was that pause would turn into permanent stop for us. And karma loading for her. For the next few months, I focused on therapy. Work. Not checking Brittany's socials. Josh and I saw each other less. Texted. Met for coffee sometimes. He was patient. Didn't push. But something in me had shifted. The idealized version of him, future husband, safe choice, had cracked. Not because of anything he did, because of what I'd learned about myself. I had ignored too many small discomforts to keep the peace. With Brittany. With him. With my family. Postponing the wedding gave me time to see that. After 6 months, we had a serious talk. Sitting on his old couch, wedding boxes still stacked in the hallway. "I love you," I said. "I always will. But I think I love you more as my first big relationship than I do as my forever." He looked like he'd been bracing for it. "I've felt that too," he said quietly. Like we were pushing toward a goal because it was what our families wanted, not necessarily because it was exactly right now. We cried. We hugged. We broke up. No cheating. No big fight. Just two people acknowledging that a bomb going off in your family can sometimes reveal cracks that were already there. Brittany, meanwhile, went radio silent with me. She'd moved back in with her mom and my stepdad to work on herself. Translation: to be coddled. About a year after the non-wedding, my mom texted, "For your information, Brittany is engaged. She asked me to invite you." I stared at the screen. Engaged. To whom? I scrolled Brittany's Instagram. Yes, I still had her muted, not blocked. There she was. Perfect hair. Perfect nails. Ring in focus. Some gym-looking guy beside her. Caption: sometimes you have to go through fake love to find the real thing. I snorted. Fake love? Pot? Meat? Kettle. A few weeks later, an email popped into my inbox from an unfamiliar address. Subject: "Hey. From a friend of a friend. About Brittany." My heart clenched. I opened it. "Hey Anna. You don't know me, but I'm friends with someone who went to college with Brittany. She's in my fiancé's group chat for our work friends partners. I recognized her from your viral rehearsal dinner video. Yes, that one made it to TikTok. Sorry. I thought you should see this." Oh, say. Attached were screenshots. A group chat titled Brides and Bays 2024. In it, Brittany was complaining about her fiancé, Matt, calling him boring and safe, flirting openly with another guy in the chat, a coworker of his named Ryan. One screenshot in particular stood out. Brittany: "If Matt doesn't get his act together, at least I'll have some fun with you before the wedding." Ryan: "Lol, you're bad, but I'm not saying no." Another fiancé in the chat: You guys know Matt is in this chat, right?" Matt: "Yeah, I know, and I've seen enough. Wedding is off. Good luck with your fun, Brit." The date stamp? 2 weeks before her planned wedding. The next screenshot was from Brittany's Instagram story, now deleted. Text over a black background. "Can't believe people would try to ruin my happiness out of jealousy. If you can't have your own man, stop trying to steal mine." The irony almost choked me. I dug a little deeper. Searched TikTok with her name. Up popped a video. Split screen. On one side, Brittany dropping to one knee at my rehearsal dinner, proposing to Josh. Someone had posted it anonymously with the caption, "Bridesmaid proposes to groom at rehearsal." On the other side, screenshots of her group chat flirtation with Matt's "wedding is off" text. Caption: "When you're the main character in everyone's breakup." The comments were brutal. "She's the problem. It's literally her." Karma said, "Try it." Imagine thinking you're entitled to every man in your orbit. Is this a mythodrama in human form? Apparently, Matt had posted his side of the story on Reddit, true off my chest, and the internet had connected the dots back to her earlier stunt at my non-wedding. Karma wasn't just a quiet concept anymore. It was public. Messu. And it had hit her right where she'd tried to hit me. Her engagement. Her public image. Her delusion that she could be the victim in every story. My mom called, distraught. "She's a wreck," she said, crying, saying no one will ever love her. She asked why you sent people after her online. "I didn't send anyone," I said. "Her own actions did that." There was a long pause. "We failed her," my mom said finally. "We let her believe the world would rearrange around her feelings. Now it won't, and she doesn't know what to do with that." I felt surprisingly neutral. Not pleased. Not gloating. Just done. It's been about 3 years since my stepsister tried to steal my wedding by proposing to my fiancé at our rehearsal dinner. If you'd told me then what my life would look like now, I would have thought you were describing someone else. I didn't marry Josh. We're friendly acquaintances now. He's in a healthy relationship with someone who met him as the guy who went through a weird almost wedding, not as my ex. We occasionally bump into each other at mutual friends' gatherings. There's no bitter edge. Just gratitude that we didn't force a marriage out of momentum. Shared understanding that Brittany did us a weird, twisted favor by blowing things up early. Brittany is not married. Last I heard, she moved to a different city. New job. New Instagram handle. Her posts are more low-key now. Less main character monologue, more selfies with her dog. She still occasionally comments vague digs on my mom's Facebook, but we don't speak. I'm okay with that. My relationship with my parents is better. We've had hard conversations about how they coddled her, how they used me as the responsible one who'd always smooth things over, How that set both of us up to fail in different ways. They're in therapy now too. They're learning to say to her, "We love you. We won't fix this for you. As for me, I live in a small apartment that I decorated exactly how I wanted. No compromise over paint colors. No coordinating with anyone else's taste. I date. I'm not in a rush to remarry. I've learned how to enjoy my own company. Set boundaries without explaining them for 10 minutes. Let other people's mess stop at their front door. If there's one thing I wish I could tell the version of me standing in that restaurant, watching my stepsister kneel with a ring in front of my fiancé, it's this. You do not have to stay in rooms where people are auditioning for your life. If someone thinks your partner, your job, your big day, your role should be theirs just because they want it hard enough, that's not romance. That's entitlement. And entitlement is a bottomless pit. You will never fill it. So now, when I see even a hint of that "I deserve your life more than you do" energy, I don't argue. I don't try to prove my worth. I just step back. The way I did that night, when I set my glass down and watched what my fiancé did next. Watching, instead of reacting, showed me who he was, and who she was, and who I needed to be for myself. I'm not sure karma is a mystical force, but I do know this. If you keep choosing yourself and stepping away from people who feed on chaos, life gets a lot quieter. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, you get front-row seats when the universe hands those people exactly what they were trying to hand you. Every now and then, I still get wedding invitations in the mail. Crema-colored envelopes, calligraphy, other people's happily Teversofts. For a while, I couldn't even look at them without feeling that old tightness in my chest. Now I stick them on the fridge for a week, send a gift if I can, and let myself feel genuinely happy that someone else is ready in a way I wasn't back then. Sometimes I drive past the barn where my wedding was supposed to be. The fairy lights are still there. On summer nights, I can see silhouettes dancing through the big open doors. 3 years ago, that sight would have gutted me. Now I roll down the window, let the music drift in for a second, and then keep driving toward my own little place at the end of the road. There's no aisle there. No white dress hanging on the back of a door. Just my couch, my plants, my friends dropping by with takeout, and bad rom-com recommendations. It's not the life my 20-year-old self pinned on Pinterest. It's quieter. Riella. Mine. And one day, if I do decide to put on a dress and walk towards someone again, it'll be because we chose each other without anyone else auditioning for my spot. Until then, I'm okay just choosing myself. Every single day.